Professor Zilax's mandibles shattered in 3 places before his brain registered what happened. One moment he was reaching for the disruptive human student's shoulder, standard procedure for escorting uncooperative pupils from his advanced xenobiology lecture, and the next moment his entire facial structure was reorganizing itself in ways evolution never intended. The crack echoed through the amphitheater like a gunshot, followed immediately by his high-pitched keening as he collapsed backward into the holographic periodic table display. Emergency klaxons started wailing within seconds. Station medical protocols automatically activated for catastrophic facial trauma to tenured faculty, and Commander Kael'thas was sprinting toward Lecture Hall 7 before the first responding medics even arrived. This shouldn't be possible. Professor Zilax was Crorvian, a species that evolved hunting armored prey across crystalline wastelands. Their exoskeletons could withstand mining equipment impacts. Their mandibles could crush starship hull plating, and somehow a 17-year-old human girl had demolished his face without even standing up from her desk. Mia Garcia looked up from her notebook as the medical team swarmed around the writhing professor, her expression somewhere between concerned and confused. "Is he okay? I barely touched him." According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. "Barely touched?" Kael'thas skidded through the doorway, his translator struggling with the volume. "Security footage shows..." He stopped, staring at the perfectly calm human still holding her stylus. "What exactly happened here?" "He grabbed my shoulder from behind," Mia said, shrugging. "I moved his hand away. Standard personal space stuff, you know?" She gestured at her notes. "I was just doodling during the boring part about silicon-based metabolic processes. We covered that last week." A Palaxian student 3 rows back raised a trembling appendage. "Commander, her hand moved so fast the air made a sound, like a whip crack. And then Professor Zilax his face was..." Kael'thas pulled up the security footage on his wrist display, rewinding to 30 seconds prior. There was Mia sketching what appeared to be a very detailed rendering of a cat wearing a space helmet in her notebook margins. Professor Zilax approached from behind, clearly irritated by her inattention. His primary manipulator reached for her shoulder. The footage went to slow motion automatically, the station's AI recognizing the movement as too fast for standard playback. Mia's hand came up in a blur that the camera's military-grade sensors barely caught. She grabbed Zilax's wrist, pivoted slightly in her seat, and redirected his momentum with what looked like almost no effort. The professor's own forward motion combined with her redirection sent him face first into her desk with approximately 2,000 newtons of force. His combat-rated cranial plating, designed to withstand direct strikes from plasma hammers, crumpled like tissue paper. "Great Mother of the Deep," Kael'thas whispered. "She wasn't even trying." "Can I finish taking notes?" Mia asked as medics loaded Zilax onto an emergency gurney. "We have an exam next week, and I really need to ace xenobiology to keep my scholarship." Academy Director Vex Thul received the emergency notification during what was supposed to be a relaxing thermal bath. The message header read, "Code Obsidian, Deathworld Incident, Faculty Casualty Immediate Review Required." She materialized in the administrative center still dripping, her translator barking orders before her teleportation. Shimmer had fully dissipated. "Show me everything. Now." The security team had compiled an entire dossier in the 20 minutes since the incident. Director Vexathul's photoreceptors widened with each page. The human student, Mia Garcia, first-year xenobiology major, 17 standard years old, registered biometrics during the incident showing a resting heart rate of 68 beats per minute. She wasn't stressed, she wasn't angry, she was annoyed. The security analyst pulled up comparative footage. For reference, when Cadet Jitaro faced his final combat exam last month, his heart rate was 340 beats per minute. "What are her physical specifications?" Vexthul demanded. Mass, 52 kilograms. Height, 1.63 meters. Homeworld gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. The analyst paused. Director, our standard station gravity is set to 7.8 meters per second squared for optimal comfort across species. So she's been walking around at .8 standard this entire semester? No, Director. The analyst's voice cracked slightly. She's been walking around at 1.26 times her homeworld gravity. We've been running the station 20% over her normal environment. She thought this was our comfortable setting and didn't want to seem rude by complaining. Vexthul felt her thermal regulation system fail momentarily. Get me the human students' admission files, all of them, and contact the Galactic Safety Council. We need immediate guidance on Deathworld species protocols. Director, we don't have Deathworld species protocols. The admission committee classified Earth as slightly elevated risk, acceptable with standard precautions. Slightly elevated risk? Vexthul pulled up Earth's classification data herself. The header image showed a blue-green planet that looked deceptively peaceful. She started reading the environmental summary and felt her three hearts synchronize in shared panic. Dominant predators, mammalian, apex level, tool using. Prey species includes dominant predators as food source. Atmospheric oxygen concentration, 21%. Warning, combustion hazard. Gravity classification, 1.4x galactic standard. Native disease resistance. Class 9, near immunity. Survival rate for evolution-capable species, 82%, extreme rating. Weather patterns includes hurricanes, tornadoes, blizzards, heat waves. See appendix for casualty estimates. Tectonic activity, high. Volcanic activity, moderate. Notable species behaviors, play fighting, extreme sports, spicy food tolerance. By the ancestors, Vexthul breathed. We admitted students from a planet that's actively trying to kill everything on it. Commander Kael'thas entered the office, his expression grim. Director, we have a problem. I pulled the records for all human students currently enrolled. There are 12 of them. And every single one has been involved in minor incidents that we attributed to station equipment malfunctions. Broken door handles, cracked furniture, damaged gym equipment, shattered viewport seals during what they called light exercise. He pulled up a montage of repair requests. The humans have been unconsciously breaking our infrastructure for 3 months. They've just been too polite to mention it. Vexthul accessed the intercom. Security. I need Mia Garcia brought to my office immediately. Non-confrontational approach. Use the words, please, and, if you don't mind, at least twice. Mia arrived 15 minutes later, still carrying her notebook, looking more worried about missing class than about potential disciplinary action. Am I in trouble? Because Professor Xylax grabbed me first, and on Earth that's technically assault, and I was actually super gentle because I didn't want to hurt him. How gentle? Vexthul interrupted. What? You said you were super gentle. Quantify that for me. Mia shifted uncomfortably. I mean, I just moved his hand away. If I actually wanted to hurt him, I could have, she made a vague gesture, done damage, real damage. He'd be, she trailed off, noticing the expressions around the room. He's going to be okay, right? It was just a broken face, not like a broken neck or anything serious. Just a broken face, Kael'thas repeated faintly. She considers catastrophic cranial trauma to be minor injury. Commander, on Earth, broken bones are like a few weeks of healing, maybe a month for big ones. Mia pulled out her personal data pad. I broke my arm in 3 places last year doing parkour, walked it off after the cast came off 6 weeks later. My brother broke his collarbone twice playing football. My mom fractured her spine in a car accident and was back at work in 3 months. The room went silent. Your mother, Vexthul said carefully, suffered spinal damage and recovered in 3 months. Well, yeah. Humans are pretty resilient. It's kind of necessary when you live on Earth. Mia scrolled through her datapad. Oh, here's a fun fact I learned in comparative anatomy last week. Apparently, most species don't have redundant organs. Like, you guys mostly just have one heart, and if it stops working, you die? That is standard biological design, yes. Weird. Humans can survive with like one kidney, partial liver function, collapsed lungs, significant brain damage. We're really hard to kill. Completely. She said it with the casual tone of someone discussing the weather. Is that not normal? A notification appeared on Vexthul's display. Urgent communication from the Galactic Safety Council. She accepted it immediately. Council Representative Zoranix appeared via hologram, his frills fully extended in agitation. Director Vexthul, we've reviewed your emergency report. You need to implement immediate containment protocols for all Deathworld species currently enrolled at your facility. Containment? Mia looked offended. I'm not dangerous. This was an accident. Young human, you hospitalized a Corvian professor with what you consider a gentle response to unwanted physical contact. According to your own admission files, you're not even considered particularly strong by human standards. Zoranix pulled up a data chart. Your planet's evolutionary pressures created species with bone density 3 times galactic standard, muscle fiber efficiency rated at Class 8, and pain tolerance that borders on pathological. You routinely consume toxins for recreational enjoyment. Your children engage in combat training, disguised as play. Your entire civilization exists in a state of constant low-level warfare with your own environment. I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds bad, Mia admitted. But we're really nice. Humans are super friendly. We just happen to be durable. Your durability is the problem, Vexthul said gently. Mia, what would happen if I shook your hand right now using my standard greeting grip strength? Mia looked at the director's slender, crystalline appendages. I'd probably break your fingers. Maybe your whole hand. I'd have to be really careful. And that's with conscious effort to be gentle. Yeah. Mia's expression shifted from defensive to understanding. Oh no, you guys are actually really fragile, aren't you? Like, genuinely delicate in ways I didn't realize. We're standard biological entities, Kael'thas said. You're the statistical outlier. Your species evolved on a nightmare planet and somehow survived long enough to develop space travel. Earth's not that bad, Mia protested weakly. Vexthul pulled up Earth's environmental data. Your planet has weather systems capable of leveling cities, tectonic activity that regularly destroys infrastructure, predators that hunt humans for food, diseases that kill millions despite your advanced immune systems. And your species responds to all of this by engaging in extreme sports for entertainment. Okay, that's fair, Mia conceded, but we also have puppies and pizza. Those are nice things. What's a puppy? Domesticated wolves. We selectively bred apex predators to be cute and friendly, and now they live in our homes. The room went silent again. You weaponized carnivores, Zoranix said slowly, and turned them into companions. I mean, dogs are great, very loyal. My dog bear weighs 40 kilos and could totally take down a full-grown man, but he mostly just wants belly rubs and treats. Mia showed them a photo on her datapad. See? Adorable. That animal could kill most sentient species without effort. Yeah, but he wouldn't. He's a good boy. Mia noticed their expressions. This isn't helping my case, is it? Over the next 6 hours, the Academy convened an emergency faculty meeting to discuss human integration protocols. Professor Xylax attended via hologram from the medical center, his reconstructed face still showing stress fractures in the prosthetic plating. I owe the human student an apology, he announced, startling the assembled faculty. I initiated unwanted physical contact from a position she couldn't visually track. By human standards, and frankly by any reasonable standards, I committed assault. She responded with a defensive reflex that her species developed over millions of years of evolution. The fact that she held back enough that I'm merely injured rather than deceased demonstrates remarkable restraint on her part. "Professor, she broke your face," someone pointed out. "Yes, and if she'd wanted me dead, she could have snapped my neck as easily as I'd snap a data stylus. I've reviewed human combat techniques. What she did was the equivalent of a gentle push by her species' standards. I grabbed a Deathworlder from behind without warning. I'm lucky I'm still capable of communication." Dr. Lirana, the Academy's chief xenobiologist, pulled up a comprehensive analysis. "I've been studying human physiology all afternoon. Their normal physical capabilities would classify them as Class 6 combat operatives by our military standards. Enhanced specimens, which they call athletes, reach Class 8, and they achieve this naturally, without genetic modification or cybernetic enhancement." "How is that possible?" someone asked. "Survival pressure. Earth's environment killed off anything that wasn't optimized for violence, endurance, and adaptability. Humans aren't just survivors, they're persistence predators. They can track prey across impossible distances, survive injuries that would kill most species, and adapt to environments ranging from Arctic to desert to marine. They're biological Swiss Army knives designed by evolutionary necessity." "What's a Swiss Army knife?" "A multifunction tool humans carry for convenience. The metaphor is apt. They're inherently versatile and unexpectedly dangerous." Director Vexthul stood, commanding attention. "Here's what we're implementing immediately. First, mandatory human interaction training for all faculty and staff. No physical contact without explicit permission. No approaching from blind spots. Maintain respectful distance at all times. Second, infrastructure upgrades. All human accessible areas will be reinforced to military specifications. Third, updated admission protocols. We'll require detailed homeworld environmental assessments before accepting any students from planets rated above 1.7 standard gravity or Class 6 survival difficulty." "What about the humans already enrolled?" Kailthas asked. "They stay. They've earned their places here academically. We failed to provide an appropriate environment, not the other way around." Vexthul looked directly at Mia, who'd been sitting quietly in the back. "Mia Garcia, you have the Academy's formal apology. Professor Zilax will not be filing charges, and your scholarship remains intact. However, we're assigning you to a peer mentorship program where you'll help educate faculty and students about human behavioral norms and physical capabilities." "I can do that," Mia said, relieved. "I promise I'll be careful. Super careful, like maximum gentleness at all times. We appreciate that, but we also need you to understand, you don't have to be careful anymore. We're adapting to accommodate you, not the other way around." Vexthul smiled, an expression that didn't translate well across species, but conveyed warmth regardless. "You're not a problem to be solved. You're a student we failed to properly prepare for." 3 months later, Galactic Academy Station had transformed into what the students jokingly called Fort Deathworld. Reinforced floors, upgraded furniture rated for industrial use, and specialized training facilities designed to handle enthusiastic human movement. The human enrollment had tripled, and other high-gravity species had started applying, attracted by the Academy's newfound reputation for accommodating resilient life forms. Professor Zilax, fully recovered with state-of-the-art facial reconstruction, had become an unlikely advocate for Deathworld species integration. His new course, Physical Interaction Safety with High-Gravity Species, was the most popular elective on the station. Mia sat in the front row of advanced xenobiology, taking meticulous notes and only occasionally doodling space cats in the margins. She'd become something of a station celebrity, simultaneously the most feared and most beloved student on campus. Other species gave her respectful distance in the corridors, but also sought her out for advice on everything from how do humans survive emotional distress to is it true you can regrow fingertips. After class, she headed to the recreation center where she'd been invited to demonstrate human sports for the interspecies cultural exchange program. A crowd of students had gathered to watch what they'd heard described as controlled violence for enjoyment. So this is called basketball, Mia explained, holding up an orange sphere. 2 teams, 1 ball, you try to throw it through that hoop up there. It's fun. That hoop is 3 meters high, a Palaxian observer noted. How do you reach it? Oh, you jump. Mia took 3 running steps and leapt, easily reaching the hoop and dropping the ball through. She landed with a floor-shaking thud that made several observers flinch. See? Easy. She just casually jumped 1.5 times her own height, someone whispered, while carrying a weighted sphere in elevated gravity. Yeah, that's called a slam dunk. It's pretty basic. Mia bounced the ball a few times, then noticed the crowd's expressions. Too much. Perhaps we should start with something gentler, the recreation coordinator suggested nervously. Sure, we could play catch? Mia tossed the basketball to a nearby student, who caught it and immediately collapsed under its momentum. Oops, sorry, I'll throw softer. Commander Kael'thas, observing from the upper gallery, shook his head with something approximating affection. 3 months ago, I would have classified her as a safety hazard. Now I realize she's just a kid trying her best in a universe that's surprisingly breakable. Director Vexthul joined him, watching Mia carefully, almost comically carefully, demonstrate how to bounce a ball without creating floor damage. The Galactic Council published new guidelines yesterday. Deathworld species are now classified as requiring specialized facilities and trained personnel. Hundreds of institutions are implementing similar protocols. We're not just adapting one station, we're changing how the galaxy thinks about evolutionary diversity. Because a teenage girl broke a professor's face. Because a teenage girl showed us that our definition of normal was dangerously narrow. Vexthul pulled up the latest enrollment projections. We have applications from species we didn't even know existed, worlds that seemed too harsh to produce spacefaring civilizations. Turns out, they just needed institutions willing to accommodate them. Down in the recreation center, Mia had successfully taught a mixed species group the basics of passing a ball without causing injuries. Her laughter echoed through the space, genuine, unrestrained, very human, and the other students were laughing with her. Hey Mia, someone called out, is it true that humans voluntarily jump out of aircraft for fun? Oh yeah, skydiving is awesome. You fall for like a minute and then... Fall? For a minute? Yeah, it's this huge adrenaline rush. Totally safe, though. Well, mostly safe. There's a parachute. Kael'thas groaned. She's going to give someone a thermal regulation failure explaining human recreational activities. Probably, Vexthul agreed, watching the scene with undisguised fondness. But that's why we created the mentorship program. Better they learn about human chaos in controlled environments than through emergency medical incidents. Later that evening, Mia sat in her dorm room video calling her family back on Earth. Her mother appeared on screen, looking tired but happy. How's Space University, honey? Breaking any more professors? Mom, that was one time and it was an accident, Mia grinned. But seriously, it's amazing. I'm helping redesign their entire safety protocols. I've got a new elective on comparative evolutionary resilience, and Professor Zilak says I have a real gift for xenobiology. That's wonderful. Are you making friends? Yeah, tons. Everyone's super nice once they get past the initial terror of realizing humans are basically walking weapons. She laughed. I taught some classmates about basketball today. They think we're insane for playing contact sports recreationally. Well, we kind of are, her mother smiled. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. You're representing humanity out there. I'm trying. It's weird being the scary one, though. On Earth, I'm just normal. Here, I'm this terrifying Deathworld creature that everyone treats like I might accidentally destroy the station. Mia paused. I broke a bathroom stall yesterday just by sitting down too fast. They built everything so delicate. They built everything to their standards. You're just built to Earth standards, which apparently are higher than most of the galaxy. Her mother's expression grew serious. But remember, being strong doesn't mean you have to be hard. Being capable doesn't mean you can't be gentle. You're doing great, honey. After the call ended, Mia pulled out her xenobiology homework and started studying. Tomorrow she had an exam, then a meeting with the station engineers about furniture stress testing, then her regular shift as a human cultural liaison, helping faculty understand why humans kept trying to adopt the station's pest species as pets. Just another week at Galactic Academy Station, where being human had gone from a minor footnote in her admission file to the single most interesting thing about her entire existence. She smiled, sketching another space cat in her notebook margin. 3 months ago, she'd accidentally hospitalized a professor. Now she was helping build a future where Deathworld species weren't aberrations to be feared, but differences to be accommodated and celebrated. Not bad for a 17-year-old who just wanted to study xenobiology and maybe not break any more faces in the process.